Just don't go around.
Tuesday night, it's 10 o'clock, or shortly thereafter, or maybe before, depending on if you don't have satellite time or not. But you know what it is? It is time for the House of Common show, the flagship show, the main show, the A show of the House of Common Network. I am Chris Chase, one of 10 members of this collective known as the House of Common. And it's so great to be on your screen or in your ears at this moment right now, affecting your present to change your future. Yeah, I just made up that sentence immediately because I'm just that darn freaking good.
Come on,
gentlemen, how are you doing tonight?
We are
doing well.
We're good, man.
You already know the
Canada
vibes.
versus Haiti, 0-0 at the half.
Thank you, Tim. You can find us already on YouTube.
America.
If you are video watchers, if you are audio listeners, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search for the words House of Common Show. Leave 5-star reviews wherever you can. Subscribe to the channels, all of that stuff, and then share that information with other people. You know the vibes. It is always great to be here with you. It's always great to be able to just, chop it up with you, to talk real talk, because not enough people talk real talk. Not enough people do that, but that's what we do. We might be right, we might be wrong, but we're always going to be real with you, the viewer, you, the listener. Gentlemen, it's been a crazy 7 days since the last time we spoke. I think there were some people who watched our show last week and maybe thought these guys aren't really friends. They don't know that we argue from time to time. They don't know that we have sharp disagreements. They don't know that we come back together like Voltron. They don't understand that we're like the Power Rangers.
I forgot we even fought.
I totally forgot.
I didn't. Y'all came ready for it.
I would love to see us fight. I don't even know what us fighting actually would look like. Actually, you know what I would know what it look like? It just means one of us aren't going to be in the chat for a little while, and the rest of us get worried about that person who's out in the chat. And we have a chat
how you know that
person.
How you know that? How you know that, Chase?
That sounds real familiar, fam.
Sorry. That's me speculating. I'm guessing that if we ever fought, that's what would happen. Somebody would leave the chat for a couple of weeks, and then everybody would worry about them, and then the intervention. I'm just saying that's what.
What's your Enneagram, Chris? What's your Enneagram?
My Enneagram, I'm a 9-wing 8.
Okay, I was born in the 80s, so what does that mean in astrology?
Stop it.
Okay, it means
I
I'm
was born in 86. So does that mean you're a Capricorn or a Sagittarius?
It means that I'm a peacemaker, but
Okay.
if pushed, I will throw hands.
The petty prince.
I'm a petty prince. I'm a
Petty Prince.
I will.
You will throw hands. And it'll be bad because it's suppressed.
I am. I'm an Enneagram 9.
You're a peacemaker?
Yeah.
It's super suppressed. He's just gonna blow up.
yeah.
So
but I hold
mash
it
up everything.
and then
He goes from Gandhi to a in like 30 seconds.
Like a what?
Wi-Fi? You don't even know what he goes to.
You censor yourself?
You know what he went to.
Yo, he goes from Gandhi to a.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, my Wi-Fi is
Jason right now in the chat.
Yo, 175. 175.
So gentlemen, the week is it's been 7 days since the last time we spoke. Last time we had a conversation. We did a little bit of an early rundown, and then we camped out on the 215, the indigenous children that were found in Kamloops, BC, and we had a full discussion about that. And we were on different sides of the same conversation, if that makes any sense. But we had sharp disagreements in terms of the news and what that means and how it's going to be shared and if whether or not this is going to be a long-lasting thing. Calvin, I'm going to throw it to you because you were very quick to put in our Instagram chat every time more news came up about this. So do you want to inform us and the listener or the viewer who's watching right now about what you've seen and some things that you feel that we should be learning since that 7 days ago?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is so bad I couldn't hear what you said. I just know that you're throwing it to me.
Talk to us about the more I had a whole thing said I'm not gonna like stumble on it. You put in our Instagram chat the more unfortunately more bodies have been found across Western Canada. And you were quick to put that into our Instagram chat. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think obviously we made up. Everything was all right after our chat last week, but the sentiment that like this was going to go away unless there were more bodies found, and so I was being petty, and every day that when there's a new update, I'd throw it in our chat, and it's alarming, right? And Stefan said it a little earlier. I didn't see the stat that what is it, $10 million is now being allocated within Ontario alone to take a look at the ground, whether they're excavating it or not. And the body count's going up, man. It's over double now what we thought of last week. And it's just bananas. And I think people are still advocating, and there's more conversations being had. There's more awareness being had, and we just keep hoping and praying and working in the waiting that we move forward.
I have a question. Are you surprised that there are more bodies? Because I think we said a couple weeks ago we're expecting them to find more bodies.
You know, a week ago.
No, I think
Like last
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago we talked about it. We said, I think it was Andrew that said this probably won't be the last. The original number 215 wasn't going to be the last set of bodies that they find.
Yeah, no way that it'd be the
No.
number.
Yeah. There's no way. They're already at over 4,000, and they said it would jump up to 6,000. So.
So
we knew it was
in light of that, like, so I think that there, the disconnect from our conversation last week, and we talked and just so you know, those of you who are listening, those of you who are watching, those of you who are watching now live, or those of you who are watching later on, we had a long sort of like, I want to say maybe guys a 45-minute like debrief conversation about this. After we ended the recording, we continue to talk about this. So it's one of those things where like we wish we had a Patreon, which is one day coming, ladies and gentlemen, for some deeper conversations, which you can invest into. Wink, wink, wink. For those of you who are listening, I winked into the camera. But we had a full conversation about kind of like where we were on different sides of opinions on this, and the reality is that we knew that there would be more. I think the conversation was more about like the news portion of it. So, Calvin, I throw back to you. Like, do you feel like a week later, adequate news is still being placed on this issue, or have people moved on news-wise, not caring-wise, not wanting to be informed-wise, but just in the news telecast world?
Yeah, I don't even watch the news. I get my news from Twitter. I get my news from Instagram. So the people that share the news that we're all hearing, I'm getting it from the people, unbiased, unfiltered. Well, not unbiased. It's definitely biased and mostly angry. But like I don't have to rely on a certain hour in the day or a certain personality to get it.
Unbiased Twitter.
Where are you getting this?
Yeah, that's funny.
Bipartisan Twitter.
I will add to that, Calvin, that I think there is a lot of mainstream conversations happening. People are still holding our Prime Minister JT to account to kind of say what's going on with a lot of these things. What?
I can't call Justin Trudeau JT. I can't.
JT now?
So yo, we got
the only one that noticed that. I was like,
everybody noticed. Everybody noticed, and it was like, yo, are we gonna let this slide? In my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna let it slide. And O'Shea's like,
what is he, your boy now?
Yo, we got
let that slide.
We got JT.
Bart has both Dave Wells and Justin Trudeau on speed dial right now. It's like,
I have them in priority as well. It goes, my wife is number one, and number two is Dave Wells. Number two, number three is JT. JT number three, fam.
JT.
Dougie's gonna make the cut. Dougie can't make the cut, fam.
Yo, but what color is his emoji?
Oh, I can't say that out loud.
No, we're not doing that.
Why are you setting the man up?
Why we're not doing that?
Yo,
we're not doing that. We're not doing any colors and stuff.
Setup.
We're not doing that. We can't edit it, but we're not talking about it. Gentlemen, what other things that have happened over the course of this week, or something that we want to talk about that we hadn't talked about? Stefan, I'm throwing it to you because there has been a topic that you have had on your that has affected your spirit. Hope.
Yep.
It has affected your spirit.
Yes,
and
sir.
every week you want to bring it up, and you always forget about it.
I do.
And so, Stefan, I'm giving it over to you now. This topic, and I pray to the Lord that you don't forget it all of a sudden, because that will make me look like an idiot, and I do not look like looking like an idiot. So, Stefan, that topic that you want to bring up, what is said topic?
All right. So it was in the news a few weeks ago, but a principal in London, Ontario, was removed from his position because why? Like, now I'm thinking about it, this is actually ridiculous. Because in 2019 there was an event at this school where a black student with dreadlocks had his head shaved in support of a cause, and this principal decided to collect the dreads that were cut off, save them, and make a wig out of them.
And use them.
Yo, stop this.
No, it's true.
What?
It's true. It's true.
And
Was the principal white or black?
He was white.
Seriously.
I mean, I don't even know how to answer that question. Of course he was. I mean, of course.
And-
but-
Of course he was white. The black man.
Are his
was
initials
growing his own
JT?
dreads.
His initials JT.
Yo, relax.
Wait, is JT your best friend, Andrew?
No.
I just got
I
that.
thought you-
Yo,
Cal.
was that before or after the blackface?
JT ain't my best friend.
All right, back
so,
to you, Stefan. Back to you, Stefan.
So, so the I don't know what's more disturbing, the fact that he wore the students' dreadlocks, or he saved them for 6 months, dressed as the student for Halloween, wearing the student's
Wait.
hair.
He dressed as the student?
He
Yes,
wore
he
his
did.
jersey.
Wore his jersey.
No, that's just as bad as blackface, yo. You can't take my likeness. That's flagrant.
And not pay for it like the NCAA.
He got fired. He got fired.
Yo, Stefan, was it
should've
for
fired.
Halloween?
It was for Halloween.
Yo,
He
that's
actually did it
flagrant.
twice.
That's
He
mad
actually did it
flagrant.
twice. He actually
that's
took the hair and
flagrant.
wore it twice.
Oh,
You can't take my likeness and wear it as a joke, like not even as a joke, as a costume. That's me. I'm not a costume. That's literally me. How are you gonna wear me like it's funny? Like, no, you can't do that, fam.
So we like in the last 15 months we've seen a racial uprising since the deaths of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and then there's been a backlash and a fight against anti-racism ideals, things like critical race theory, I think the 1617 Project, I believe that's the number, different things like that. So where does this fall in line? Because like we've had all this sort of stuff rise to the surface, and then there are stories that keep on coming out, like these sort of really, really, really stupid things, like a principal thinking that they're funny. It's no different than, and those of you who are watching, like Adam, can you put the pin here? It's like a white person come up to me and saying, "Hey, look, I'm as tanned as you are." Catch that? Catch my sarcasm? Stefan, I throw it back to
Yes,
you for a
sir.
couple seconds. Like, why do you think this principal would even think this is remotely even funny? Remotely even okay?
You're asking me to get inside the head of a
No, not
Caucasian
in his
male.
head, just on his head, like fake dreads.
I don't honestly I don't know what what goes through someone's brain. Like, I'm just trying to think, okay, you're there, this is a great event, this student who's grown dreadlocks out is shaving it for a cause. And what in the name of all of the Lord's great creation possesses
hallelujah.
you to pick up the dreads, and instead of throwing them in the garbage, instead of sweeping it up or whatever, you decide, I've got a baggie here. Let me save this kid's hair.
And then take the time to glue it.
Yo, Stefan, you're on to
Ziploc.
something. Because, yo, I
Put it
want
on
to
the
know
Ziploc.
how he took these dreads off the floor. Did he like baggy these dreads in front of everyone, or did he pretend to throw them out to go? I got these dreads now.
Can you imagine? He just pulls out a freezer bag.
I've been waiting my whole life for this moment.
Did he use Gorilla Glue though?
No, but did he wash the dreads first? Did he do a soak with apple cider vinegar?
He doesn't know what to do with those.
He took some beeswax and
Yeah, you got some Murray's.
begs
You
the
got
question,
an orange tin.
was this pre-planned?
Oh.
Was this something?
Yo, maybe that was his whole thing, man. He was planning it.
If
But
this
he
was an
just likes
inside
hair.
joke, who was the inside joke with?
Okay,
Ricky
but
Williams.
Here's a question: would it be just as bad if he went to Party Packagers or Party City or whatever those
And then
stores
go with
called,
the dreadlock
and got one of those
hats?
dreadlock wigs?
That's
And-
not real hair, fam.
No, I know, but would people still be up in arms because?
No.
No,
No,
I don't
because he
think
didn't
so. I
steal.
know
the
No, I'm
gentleman's
saying this
hair.
is bad. This is bad.
This
I'm
is
just
like some
wondering if this-
psycho business. Like,
This is literally the level below cannibalism.
Yes.
Wow. This is how it starts.
it's a reach.
Is it
That's
though?
a reach.
No,
No, come on.
stop.
You gotta
Is
break
it,
this
though?
guy ISO. You gotta hit him with the
Yeah,
ISO. Come
yeah.
on.
Yo,
no,
what if
no.
he saved the toenails? What if he,
Cannibalism.
No,
what if
no.
he saved the
Is it,
toenails
though?
too?
Cannibalism.
This guy's rocking hair. He's not eating his.
But here's the thing: like, if you're gonna,
What would you hold up, Stefan? Hold
Go
on,
ahead.
hold on. What would you think of someone who went around snatching people's hair to make wigs?
Yo, that's a different you, but it doesn't mean he's gonna cook the guy for breakfast.
I never said he was, but I said that's the next level, bro.
Hold on.
You go around snatching people's
That's the next.
hair.
that's the next level.
Hold on.
So-
The real question here, the real question is, who else's hair does this dude have? He's out here committing crime with different outfits, yo.
So basically, what we have on our hands is a murderer or potentially
Yeah,
from
he's a-
Criminal
Wow,
Minds.
you guys went.
Yeah,
far.
it's a Criminal Minds kind of business, man.
You guys went.
This guy's a
far.
serial hair thief, bro.
Andrew,
You went
to
from
answer your
cutting
question.
Fire
hair.
up.
You went from cutting hair to keeping it to cannibalism.
Yo,
To
you
serial
know-
killer.
you know every barbershop
people
has,
eat
like,
ice
that one
cream
kid-
out of a toilet.
You know, every
What?
barbershop has that one kid who like swoops hair. Like
Yeah,
that's how he
the
started.
intern?
He would go home and he'd be
No,
like,
that's his
he was
side
putting the
hustle.
hair together. He'd
That's
put
not
it
a side hustle. They got the flip notepad with the broken HP pencil, trying to take notes on how to fade.
You see,
How to fade.
walking around the hall asking people if it's wash day.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my gosh.
I just
It's mad flagrant. It's mad flagrant. You can't be doing this stuff.
But I want to go back to what Andrew's asked, the question Andrew asked, right? Like, not to spend too much time on this, but like, we are in a day and age now. We're in 2021 where like that could be seen as offensive if somebody goes to Party City and a white person or a Latinx person or an East Indian person or an Asian person goes and buys dreadlocks with a Rastafarian hat. Like that can be seen as cultural appropriation. So where's the line, right? Because like I can go out and get a Justin Bieber wig. I wouldn't, but I could, and nobody would think anything like I'm trying to appropriate someone's culture. But on the same end,
because technically Bieber appropriated your culture, so you're not.
Wow.
but he's a worship leader, so he gets away with it.
Wow,
point I'm
that's like a
trying to make is
judo move right
And-
there.
So
to
you
tell
know
the
who
truth,
also gets away with stuff?
Yeah, no, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Don't get ahead of us.
My man
That's-
JT?
Nope, forget
Oh,
it.
never
Get
mind.
Andrew.
to tell you the truth, there actually have been people that are talking like that. There are people who I've heard who talk about if you're wearing a wig, and that's offensive. If you ask somebody what country they're from, that's now offensive because we're all Canadians. So why are you asking me what country I'm from? So, you know,
Yeah, that's weird
like-
though, because it's
like,
not what they're asking.
all these things
right?
have now become offensive.
I-
So
I think-
where's the line?
I think you
And
also
so
have
the
to think
pendulum
about the.
swings.
I think you also have to consider the fact the reason why this was so egregious was because he's in a position of authority and this student is subject to him. Right, like
Not
he's the
fact that he
principal.
saved
He's
it for 6 months.
well, no. But if you go to a costume place to buy a costume, that's nobody. It's
Right,
based
okay.
off of
Yeah.
whatever. Whereas this, you're dressing up as one of your students.
But
Yeah, and that was wrong, and he got fired for that.
But I think that if he's gonna go to Party City and do this and get the wig and stuff, I think he would consult the student and be like, hey, would this be okay if I dressed up sort of?
How
in
many
your-"
principals would
Nah,
go and say,
it's not
"Hey,
the same
15-year-old,
thing.
Is
Can
this
I just
okay?
like
It's not the
you?
same thing.
Listen, I'm
Yo,
trying to
it's
have
dirty.
listen,
What he did is
listen.
nasty.
Yeah,
That's what's
I'm
wrong
trying
with
to-
it.
I'm trying
Going
to
to
challenge
Party
my.
City?
I'm
It's
trying to
cultural
cha-
appropriation.
I'm trying to channel my inner Calvin and have hope in humanity and think that this guy is
It's-
going to err on the side of being wise or smart
It's not even
And-
appropriation. It's just it's goofy.
It is.
But
That's
No,
exactly-
yeah.
what he did
Weird.
is
It's
nasty.
weird.
It's
It is
appropriation. It's
It's
borderline
stupid.
like.
It's not
stalkerish,
appropriating.
like-
It's just
Sorry.
nasty.
It just reminds me of. It just reminds me of.
If he was
kid.
pretending like he was Jamaican,
Let
that'd be
Let Adam go. Let Adam go. Adam, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, it just reminds me of like a kid who's doing a stupid prank that's turns out into like bullying or something stupid. You know what I mean? And they don't think about it. They do it. The only problem is that this person is a
Adult.
a prince, an adult, a grown adult doing it, and so that's why it's like okay.
But he thought about it for 6 months.
Even a kid, yeah, he did think about it for however long.
Imagine waking up every
day.
day and the man's got the
My
baggie like on his vanity or something, bro.
Imagine
Nah,
he's got
it's-
the.
Oh my goodness.
He spent 6 months putting it together piece by
my
piece.
Yeah,
fam.
yeah.
Oh my god.
In this like dimly lit room with like a halo light on a wig, just with 2 tweezers putting the dreads.
Yo, we got to move on from this.
Yeah,
This
we
is-
gotta
As he
please.
goes, this is
You know,
gonna be
like
great.
this sounds like the beginning of like a Batman villain, like in the lair. Like,
Yo, for real.
It's
He sounds like a psycho.
No,
That's not exactly
Even
what-
Joker has
No,
limits.
we're
Even
blowing
Joker's
it
got
up, man.
limits.
Yo, it's like what was this? The doll collector, whatever his name is.
what are you talking about?
The doll maker.
Oh, yeah,
In
yeah, I know what
Batman.
you're talking about. Yeah,
Oh,
I got
okay.
you.
Another quick story just before we get into our main event, because I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Last week, a great day took place on June 9th, 2021. It was 2 years ago on June 9th that the Toronto Raptors became NBA freaking champions. And it is
Yeah, they did.
important that we recognize the greatest day that ever happened to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You will say, well, what about when the Blue Jays won 1992 and 93? Those were great days. I listen.
They were.
Some of you who are watching the show
Back
weren't
to
even
back.
born when that happened. Like that's how old
were
some of
great
us
days.
are. Some of you who are watching the show weren't even old enough to actually recognize the greatness of 1992, 1993. Some of you are like, well, what happened? What about when the Leafs won in 1960?
What talkie?
That's the joke.
Stop.
There are
That's
6
the joke.
teams in the league.
Kings of
Shout
the
out.
North, the Habs.
Shout out.
Anyhow,
Oh, see what you did.
Two
Yo, you
years
guys
ago.
got
But 2 years
spanked
ago,
last
Calvin,
night.
listen,
I
Tim,
know.
You got
just
spanked.
Pause.
Tim, don't. Just don't. 2 years ago.
Why did you yell at me? See how you
I
just
thought you
angry
were, I
at me
thought you
all
were
the time.
Tim. Leave me alone. Allow me.
Not all
Let me
light skinned
make it
people
this.
look the same.
2 years ago on June 9th, the Raptors did the impossible. And yeah, you can say that Kevin Durant got, yeah, you can say that clearly. You play with who you have on the bench, who you have on the court, and we beat those guys. Raptors are NBA champs, ladies and gentlemen, forever. For the gold patch on the back of the jersey 2 years ago, we celebrate that. Gentlemen, do you have Instagram, gentlemen? Anybody here not have Instagram? Well, outside
Only
of
one
O'Shea,
person.
who has
Only the guy.
O'Shea, who the youngest of us has his Instagram curated for him.
Mm-hmm.
Who does it for you,
Done.
O'Shea?
He's on his assistant. He's on the next level.
His assistant prints out Instagram feeds and shows it to him.
He has a mood
And then
board on the kitchen fridge.
O'Shea is Instagram 2.0, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
O'Shea has it in his bio, like
Yeah.
like O'Shea McDonald. O'Shea does not post his own posts. Posts by O'Shea are made by his assistant.
No, it just says
it
just says
actually does
O'Shea
say
fan.
that.
It just say O'Shea fan page.
No, it actually does say something like that. It's like, yo, something about like how she posts like from like
Oh,
a
this girl-
third
this
party
girl's nameless,
perspective
eh?
or something
Yeah.
like that.
This girl's nameless.
Yo, I
Yo,
gotta
this
protect
girl-
You
her.
definitely
What is
don't
it?
have the worst
I gotta
assistant on
protect
the
her. I
show.
gotta protect her. I gotta protect her.
Stop
So,
that.
gentlemen, on Instagram, I should go. So, someone have Instagram. How many of you love music? Worship music? Maverick City fans? Well, just a couple of weeks ago, shouts to is it Chandler Moore? I always forget Chandler.
Chandler.
Wasn't he on the Friends show?
Yeah, Chandler Bing. Chandler Moore. There you go. Side note, I don't think I've ever met a black guy by the name of Chandler, but that's a whole other story.
What about Tyson
Chandler.
Chandler? Does that count?
No, that's
No, that's the last name.
Let
His
the
last
name
man
is Tyson.
continue.
All right,
So
go
the
ahead.
point
Go
is
ahead.
this.
Jason.
Onward with the story.
Recently, Chandler Moore got married. Shouts to marriage.
Overrated.
Praise the Lord.
And like every person who is
Overrated, I
under
love
the
it.
age of 30, he posted every picture from the wedding. Because that's what people under the age of 30 do. They post everything that they're doing at every point in time. Woke up, post. Devotions, post. eating post, whatever. Point trying to make it this. After the wedding, they had this cool little booth thing that moves around. They took pictures and they posted 4 pictures, him and his brand new wife, sharing, "Hey guys, we're on our honeymoon," that sort of thing, blah blah blah. In one of the pictures, they're doing that thing where like you put up your ring finger that's supposed to look like the middle finger. Risque. They had pictures 3 and pictures 4 also had a grouping of people doing the same thing. The ring finger, risque. But then there was a second picture. I'm gonna put my glasses on for this to make sure I see this correct.
Trying to get a good look, eh? Trying to get a real good look.
Standing behind his wife. How do I describe this in a way that's
Bacchanal?
Chase, let me say it. I want to say it.
Okay,
No.
Read
Andrew,
his comments. Read his
I'm really
comments.
excited. I'm on one. So Shane, what do you want to say?
Yo, he was out here giving her the bacchus, fam.
Nope.
So Andrew has left the chat. So everyone go to the Andrew chat. He's left the chat.
What's wrong with Bacchus, Andrew?
Yo, can you
How would you
translate
describe
that
it,
for
Andrew?
us, Mark?
Anyhow, the point I can make is this:
Translate for
there
the
was
Americans.
a big. So if you look on his Instagram picture, there's a picture of him, pushing his wife like she's a shopping cart. That's how I'll describe it. And there's a big hubbub on his Instagram comments because nobody really cared in that moment that they were a married couple. What they cared about was the picture. And what they cared about was what was represented in the picture. What they cared about was how dare he, somebody who has been described on his own website as the modern day King David, how could he have a picture like that as a leader, as a Christian, as a worship leader, as a whatever. And people went at him and his new wife on the comments. People went at him across, and so we don't want to have a conversation about them. I had a couple of jokes at his expense. I mean, he's married. He's making thousands and thousands of dollars as a worship leader, maybe millions. I don't know. He does not care about a person like me. That's fine. Conversation is this, gentlemen. If you had the opportunity to put your marriage out there on Instagram, would you take a picture like this?
Oh, wait, what?
Take a picture like this. And why is it that people made a big fuss about the picture? Let's have a conversation about that. Why are people making a big deal about this? They're married. What they do is what they do. Who cares? But there's a big hubbub about that. Does that connect to purity culture? Does that connect with how Christians view sexuality? That it should be only behind closed doors where nobody knows about the freaky things that you do? Or should it be more like, hey, we're Christians and these are the freaky things that we do? Gentlemen, I throw it to the house. What are some of your thoughts?
I can go first to set a little bit of the tone. Number one, again, I was born in the 80s, so the idea or thought to post all my pictures on the internet is just foreign, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's just different. You know, I got married before. Well, I got married right when Facebook launched. That was like simultaneous. That's not what people were using it for. People back then were still poking and waving, I think. So no one had that type of usage on it. Well, I know Chandler Moore's anyway. He was doing his own Instagram, 1.0. But I think you're touching on the right nerve, Chase, in terms of people want you to practice your faith the way they see fit. And there's a lot of people they ain't got nothing else to do. Like, let him be. If he's happy, then I'm happy for him. I think that's the only thing, with marriage, who you choose to be partnered up with. Two people are happy and they're living their best life. Go with God, go with grace, live your life. But I think people are offended. They can't circle that square. How can you be the leader and also do these things? Where I think we're now seeing a change in the guard, where a more authentic type of leadership, where I'm just going to be myself. I am Chandler. I'm also Christian. I'm also married. All these things are true all at the same time. So that's what I'll say about that.
Yo, don't be nervous, man. Don't be nervous. I know.
I got jokes. Don't let me go yet.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. All right. So this is what you want to do. I mean, and that's cool. If that's what you want to do, just like Bart was saying, they're married. So, by all means, if you want your wife to drop it like it's hot and you acting like you're in the club, if you want to do that, if you're married, that's what you can do. I do know that, um, probably, you know, I probably wouldn't do something like that just as far as photos. And even I think about our wedding, I didn't even really post that many photos until they were right. I'm like, okay, I want the best photos. I think it was like maybe two or three that I posted, and friends and family posted more photos than me and my wife. I'm like,
Right.
wow, this person posted some, this person, I was like, wow. So, photos are getting out already. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I'm happy for them. Would I've done that? No. But I think people need to just worry about their own selves, their lifestyles, their marriages, that whether they're good or bad, that I think that they just need to be concerned about what they have going on. And if they're single, they need to be concerned about either being happy, being single, or meeting somebody. I just think that people were just focused on something that, trying to dig too much into what they think is the
He was
appearance
also
of
trying to dig.
holiness. Yeah, right. The appearance of holiness instead of just, doing what's right. So
Okay.
that's
Let
my
me.
thoughts.
I'm gonna throw it to one of you a second, but like,
I'll speak in
the-
a second.
okay, like the appearance. You know what, Andrew, go, because I want to formulate a conversation about the appearance of holiness. But Andrew, go ahead.
Sure. It was a funny picture. I think it was also a dumb picture to post. Like Chris had said, we live in a generation where we post, especially the younger people post everything.
No, we've just now shown our age, Andrew. The younger people.
Yes, and we have shown our age a little bit. And I don't know if we need to post everything. Yes, we might want to, but I don't think we need to all the time, right? Like whatever he wants to do in his bedroom, that's his thing. I don't know if everyone needs to see it. Like I'm not going to judge him for it. I think it was a dumb decision. However, I think also on the onus of the people looking at the picture, I think we try to put, if we're basing our morality on 20-year-olds and young 30-year-olds, then we've got a problem to begin with. Because I think sometimes, when you're young, we're going to make stupid decisions. I think about when I was in my 20s and I made some dumb decisions. I said some dumb things. I did some dumb things.
Tell us about all of them, please.
But if people are basing their morality on younger people, Chandler Moore is 26. And so if we're basing everything just because he has a platform and we think, oh, this is our standard of morality, then we've got an issue to begin with. We've got to follow what we think is right, and that's the word of God for us, of men of faith. But I also think of what Paul said, and however we look at that is however we look at that. But Paul charges Timothy and says, listen, set an example in your speech, in your life, in your purity, however that looks. And we can debate how that looks and what the words say and all that other stuff. But, those are just some of my things. I don't think it was this, oh my goodness, the world is falling apart, like he's some awful man. I just thought it was.
Can I quickly interject?
Oh, didn't he set an example, though, of how to lay the foundation?
Lay a foundation.
You walked right into that, Andrew. You walked right into that. Oh shit, you're wrong for that.
I am so sorry.
We are so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I don't even know.
Oh my goodness! If I could also quote Paul, I do not do the things I want to do. What I want to do, I do not do.
You laid the foundation for that joke without even knowing that you did it.
Yeah.
No,
but we're playing settlers right now.
In all seriousness, Andrew, is he not demonstrating he's having a good time? Like that's what he. And is he not demonstrating that? Yes, I'm Christian, but yes, I'm also married, and it's my wedding night, and I'm having fun. What is the definition of set a good example?
Here, can I interject on that? Like I don't know how many of us that are married right now, and if we were to go in front of our congregation, forget like a service, just around our congregation, we're hanging around with our congregation and we're with our wives. We know we have a good time with our wives, where we would in front of everybody turn our wives down and put our hands down for everybody to see. And all I'm saying, the reason why I bring that up is when you made the photo, you were saying, I feel like this is something that is okay for everybody who's gonna see it to see. And really, that's what he did. He was saying, I want everybody to see. This is what we do. We love each other. We're married, and that's fine. Yes, I understand. Nothing like in terms of by just the book, there's nothing wrong with him having fun with his wife. But in the context of that, you're saying, I want everybody to see what we do. And I think that you cross, there's a possibility of crossing that line because you're saying, I want to almost like put it totally like there is no thing where it's just us versus you guys are wrong. Versus
Sorry. So as long as you know this, we have a chat that we work on to kind of like lay in like who's gonna be talking next, and sometimes the chat gets wetlists. So if you see us all kind of like collapse at the same time, it's because something was said in the chat. That one day when we have our Patreon set up, you might be able to pay for that though. That's payable stuff. But in the meantime,
you can say what I
sorry,
said.
Reem.
You can say, Chris.
There you go.
I think while we were talking, I pulled up my wedding hashtag on Instagram and looked at the pictures.
Then you're gonna be is it 8 years this August for you?
Yes, sir.
Holy.
What's the hashtag?
Yeah, congrats, bro.
Pardon? The hashtag.
What's the hashtag?
Hashtag SJ Watson wedding.
Oh wait, and who performed your wedding ceremony?
One Reverend Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones of I See the Lord, which you can find on Spotify and Apple Music.
Yes,
All right,
that
Stefan,
would be the
just continue
person.
to speak.
And so I looked at
I'm putting money in your pocket.
Okay.
Oh, the disrespect.
so I looked
sorry,
at the pictures, and they're everybody's having a good time. We didn't take pictures like that. We got pictures with family, pictures with friends. There's a picture of our MC and his wife dancing. Like there's all sorts of, which was Chris Chase. He's available for your wedding for the low price of $300.
You pay me, and I'll make your life the night of your dreams. Wait a minute. Pause. My bad.
Where are we going?
So anyway, I think I want to echo what everybody else has said. Like, not necessarily, those aren't pictures I post. I don't agree with everybody like getting all upset in the comments and stuff. But I think that, like Andrew said, people do dumb things. I think that there are people probably in his life, leaders and pastors, who might have a conversation with him and be like, hey, listen, maybe this wasn't the best thing to do. Totally understand why, but maybe this isn't the best thing to do. And we are not privy to that conversation because the people that pop up in his comments, he doesn't give a flying fadoo about them because who are they? They're nobody to him. No offense, but people who just buy his albums. I think the people that are in his life and are able to speak into his life, maybe they'll have a conversation with him. Maybe they'll say something. But like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I might actually be like the opposite of everyone because apparently I'm a different generation than everybody. But
we're the baby of the show.
But like I don't think it was wrong. I don't think it was needed as well.
That's it. It's just not needed.
Right.
But I will say the uproar and the commotion by the church is because of our inability to talk about things like sex in a church context. We actually shy so far away from that where when it gets brought up or when sexual things about what we do when we have sex comes up in a conversation or in photos like this, we break down because we're like, oh my gosh, this is such a bad thing. When we preach one thing, we preach how, oh my gosh, it's this great thing. It's this fantastic thing. It's this wonderful thing, obviously in the context and covenant of marriage. But as soon as the conversation comes up in a context where you can't control it, it's now, whoa. We don't actually want that. We don't want to know how you're giving your wife bakas or how you're going down on your wife or anything like that. And I'll say it because I'm not uncomfortable talking about these things. So some of you guys might be, and you can log off for all log off
Hey,
if
whoa,
you're
whoa,
uncomfortable.
whoa,
But
whoa, easy,
we're
easy.
having this
DJ
conversation.
Khaled. No, I'm joking.
No. But no, OJ, I want to like the thing that I've been thinking about a lot in this conversation when I saw the picture was, and the conversation about purity culture and the nervousness that we have had in the church, actually having frank conversations about not just sex but sexuality, relationships, and a lot of it comes to the point of the female's job is to please the man and nothing more than that. There is the don't talk about it at all when you're a teenager. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And then you get married and then suddenly you're supposed to turn into something else. And the nervousness and the anxiety that we have created that starts from when people are in youth group. And many of us have been youth pastors before and walking students through what healthy sexuality looks like, and the nervousness that we unintentionally place upon young people, especially young women, in terms of who they are or who they're not supposed to be, in terms of what they wear, how they act, all this other stuff. And then when they become spouses, that suddenly they are supposed to become something completely different. And then don't even get me started on how many times I've heard somebody introduce their spouse as their smoking hot wife.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. And like,
so O'Shea's not wrong in what he's saying.
No, he's not wrong at all.
He's not wrong at all. I'm agreeing with the statement. I mean, like, it's like we don't know what to do with the photo that Chandler Moore posted. We don't know what to do with it, which is why the comments are what they are. I understand why people are making the comments, but it's more so because we don't even have a real sense of morality when it comes to sexuality.
But I don't know if I necessarily fully agree with that, because Chris, with your kids, and I will say this with mine, and I think with our age group, we talk with our kids openly about sex. Like from when my kid was able to ask the question, and so Ethan, we started talking about sex. Any question he had, we've always had the way of, if our kids ask any question about sex, doesn't matter what it is, we will answer it. And so we've had topics from the age of 6, talking to our kids about sex, talking to them about different things, about sex. And, if they're asking a question, Dad, Mom, what's an orgy, or different things like that, we have had these conversations. So to say now, oh, we're feeling uncomfortable, yes, maybe there's a certain generation that feels uncomfortable, but I believe our generation and those below us that are now having kids are not feeling that uncomfortable with the conversation. And so, but even still, I'm not feeling comfortable with the conversation. However, with that pick, I don't know if it's the smartest pick that he could have put up.
Right.
Like, that's why I keep going back to that other thing I said before, where I'm like, what is he showing? He's showing that he and his wife are having fun, and that two things can be true at the same time.
And he's thanking the Lord that she knows how to twerk.
What you know about that, Tim? What you know about that?
It is in the caption, okay?
What are you doing, watching it the whole time, fam?
Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys are so wrong.
Tim, just don't take my screen, bro. Don't take my screen.
So the fact that there's a slow motion video on Tim's camera.
It's a boomerang. That's what she said.
Yo, that's on Chandler's Instagram right there.
That's the whole point of this conversation. We're all talking about Chandler's Instagram.
Well, and I think that the like many of us, there's a few of us here who are married. There's a few of us here who are married with children. So therefore, by process of elimination, we've had sex. We're grown-ups. We've been able to have these conversations, and we've also been in positions of leadership where we've had to then walk people through healthy sexuality from a biblical Christian lens, and walk people through that. And it's funny how this corner turns when somebody gets married. Like there is this sort of idea of what you're supposed to look like beforehand, and then suddenly you wild out bacchanal style. The moment the ring goes on, you say I do. Suddenly you become a whole other person.
Monster. I don't know if I would be. I don't know if I would be proud today of like my early years as a junior high pastor of what I taught and what I said, because I was basically emulating the things that happened to me or were said to me when I was a kid. And as I did that for 8 years, and as I grew into that role and that position, I refined it to have a lot more open dialogue. But there's definitely, I don't think I'm too old or too young, or rather, to be like, oh, now we're talking about purity stuff, and back in the day it was, it was much worse. I think even in my short stint 15 years ago in ministry, I still think there's a lot of people that have that same type of sentiment where it's wrong until it's right, and that aren't comfortable enough to have tough conversations with young people at the age and stage they're at when you're dealing with 11 to 18-year-olds, even older.
So like I have a question, and here, if he was at his wedding and whining with his new wife, and someone snapped a photo and posted that, would that photo get as much flack, more flack?
No flack.
It would get no flack whatsoever.
It's like the same thing with Paul Pierce.
But why?
Because it's the same thing with Paul Pierce. He took the video himself and posted it. Whereas if somebody at that party he was throwing took a video of him with all those girls, he would have never lost his job ever.
So then the problem isn't the action. The problem isn't the action of what he did. It's the simple fact that he posted it. And then shouldn't that then play more on us as the consumer being more worried about how other people are living their lives and posting things rather than what they're doing? Because like I thought about that question, because like it was Andrew, I think, who said like something about like morality. And I know he probably wasn't talking about like what Chandler Moore did as like immoral, but that's what others in the comments would have probably perceived it as this is an unmoral thing. But if like, and I know this is obviously all of us and not all the people that were commenting, but if we can all agree that like it's not actually the action of what he's doing, but this stupid fact, I will say that the stupid fact that he posted it opposed to somebody else posting it at the end of the day. And I know it doesn't really matter, but like boiling it down to those thousands of people in the comment, why does it really matter to them too much?
Because in their eyes, either way, it is a morality issue, whether they're for it or whether they're not for it. For those people in the chat, it is a morality issue. And what I'm saying is we need to stop. We can't worry about what some 20-year-old or 20, he's 26. We can't worry about what he's doing and base our
Andrew,
morality.
He's a modern day King David.
Oh, jeez.
Stop it.
Oh,
we can't base
I'm
it.
saying
No,
on his own website.
He said
No,
that.
I know that. I know that. But that's, you know what I mean? Like we look at these guys who are have a lot of following, have big influence now, and we're like, these are the leaders we got to emulate or not emulate. And it's like, yes, they have a platform, but that doesn't mean we have to look at them to say, oh, this is how our lives should be or how we should follow. And what I'm saying is, in that chat, that's how these people are arguing. They're arguing like, this is soft porn. This is, oh, shut up, leave him alone, this and this. And it's like, okay, guys, first of all, why are we looking to this guy to put our level of morality in there?
Yeah.
Like, no, he's young. If this is a dumb picture, let's just move on and, figure out how to walk properly without these bigger guys there influencing us.
I just imagine, like, if you're a senior pastor take a picture like that, like what would the world be like? You know what I mean? We look at you, want to say something?
No, but that's exactly where I was gonna go. Like, I still think it's just the context of it. So like, if somebody else takes a pic, he's at his wedding having fun with his wife, his new wife. But now when you go out of your way and very intentional to pick certain pics from the wedding, very intentional to pick certain pics from the wedding to post for hundreds of thousands of people to see, and
It's
you
a judgment
chose.
call.
That's a judgment call. You
Right,
chose
exactly.
to pick those specific ones.
Yep.
Him twerking, the one where twice they're making sure that, or her twerking, her twerking twice to do this, and you know kind of where people were gonna think. Like you were trying to cross.
Be
like,
edgy.
you that was intentional for me, and that for me, that's where you're like, okay, like you can't get mad because you knew you were gonna get that smoke. You can't be defensive now. Like you knew that there was gonna be people, and so and now as a man of God, you actually deliberately were trying to stir people's emotions in a negative way, and you were trying to affect people in a negative way. And so from that standpoint, that's where there's the concern. What he did on its own, if it's not kept, there's nothing wrong. He's married. He's having fun with his wife.
Exactly.
They're married. There's nothing wrong with that. But then to be extremely intentional from all the different things that they had, because they would have had a whole bunch of things where they would have had fun on their wedding day. Of all the things that you want to make sure that you captured, you want to capture your wife twerking on you and then highlighting it in your caption. You wanted to capture, you putting up your ring finger in a way where it was like almost looks like your middle finger. You wanted to do these certain things, and that's the reason why it got what it got. There's nothing wrong with putting up your ring finger. It's his ring finger. There's nothing wrong with his married wife twerking on him because they're married. But to be intentional about to make sure those specific pictures are the ones that we're going to post, that's the issue with this.
You know
Go
what?
ahead, Tim.
No. I want Jason. I saw Jason's shoulders rise up, so we're gonna go Jason, then we're gonna go Tim.
Tim just got sunned.
So something is really interesting.
The thing is, Jason can go first.
Yeah, so something is really interesting is many of us were talking about this in the chat, how we're older. And just the fact that for instance, you're at your wedding, family's there, moms is there, uncles is there, dads there, all these other people. And, something like this comes out and they're like, okay, son, why'd you do that? So it's one of these funny things too. Like, okay, like what exactly are your parents and your family say? Again, yes, he's married. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, I'm glad if you're married, I'm glad that you're twerking. If you're married, twerk all you want, twerk all day, whatever. But
with your
think
spouse.
about the family at the wedding.
I just have to. Tim, go so I can go. Please go, Tim. Please go so I can go.
So, one of the things that I've been thinking as we've been talking about everything that is on that end is, what if it was something that they intentionally thought of? And I know it is hard for us because we want to wrest ourselves from this particular incident, but maybe it's calculated. Maybe it's something that they're like, we do not want to be your poster boy Christian couple. It's something on that end that it's like, we want to do us, and we are all right if you
They actually do want to do us, each other.
Yeah. but it's like,
do you, boo-boo? Do you, boo-boo? Do you?
It's something that they themselves as a couple are more than happy to be canceled, so that they're not something that everyone sheds the spotlight on as your perfect Christian couple that you would follow along those lines. And then it's also on a level, it's like me, I am unmarried. I've never been married. So there's only so much that I can speak to it. When I saw it, the only thing was, and I think I sent a message to Stefan, I'm like, it's like, if you did that and you were working in a church, the meeting that you would have with your lead pastor, they would call you in right away. And it's just one of those things. It's like, at the end of the day, on a level, we've all, in some way or another, been either formed or participated in purity culture, and so there is always that thing that will always be that tension, because everything that they have done is going against the flow of what has normally been portrayed as the gold standard.
I disagree only this way, Tim. I do, but like the purity culture is don't do anything and then get married and do everything. That's essentially purity culture in the nutshell. Do nothing. Ladies wear long skirts that don't even show off your ankles. Ladies don't ever show off your shoulders. Never. Also, just note, men can get away with everything except for handling themselves. Outside of that, women don't do anything at all ever, forever, ever, ever, and then get married. And then
guys just gotta bounce their eyes. That's it.
That's it. Just avert your gaze.
Because remember, the second look is sin, not the first one.
That's the first
Right?
one, Pat.
And then
Can I jump in? Okay, go.
And then get married, and then then the world is yours. And that's the brokenness of purity culture, because we don't have these conversations. Like I want to go back to what Andrew said, like actually having proper conversations with our kids, with youth, along the way about healthy sexuality, to prepare them for that moment. Instead, suddenly it's like, well, listen, you're married, so listen, baby, you better twerk on me right now, because listen, like that's your job now. And so like this idea of like what purity culture is actually, and there's writing about this, that how purity culture has been so damaging to the psyche of young married couples, older married couples, who have kind of carried this burden of what purity culture is supposed to be, of these ideals of sexuality that they're supposed to carry, and then they fall apart after all because they're not able to live up to the ideal. Reem, you want to jump in there? Or Bart want to jump in there? You want to jump in there? If I want to jump
It's
in
not as timely. I was gonna make the slight joke, which could blow up the conversation, that we keep saying if you're married you want to twerk up on your wife. I'm just like, so we're saying you're fat and you're not married, you're single, you can't dance with a girl. Is that what we're saying? And if there happens to be,
that's what purity
That's
culture.
what purity culture
would say.
every single one of us, myself included, have mentioned, well, he's married. So I'm just saying, if you're married, you can't dance, and where's the line with dancing? Are we footloose? Or are we saying if ring-a-ling-a-ling, if Shabba Rice comes on, you can't dance?
Newspaper. You gotta have a newspaper.
You're the old. No. When that happens, Bart, you're the old man in the corner by yourself, just kind of just
holding a drink, just
holding a drink.
Okay, I'm just asking the question. We keep saying married man. I'm like,
that's a part of purity culture too, right? But we say, well, he's married now, so he can do whatever he wants. Like that's
exactly.
That's a part of it. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, here's the thing where what he did could be helping the church in a positive way, potentially. I'm not saying I'm all the way there, but I will say this, that I do know of leaders that have been at weddings with their spouses and music has come on and they won't dance with their spouses. Why? Because even though they are married, they know that people are going to look at them the same way we're looking at Chandler right now.
Right.
Facts.
Because even though, yes, you're married, you got to be careful what you do as a married couple in front of other people that are
when you're Christian.
When you're Christian.
Yeah.
And so the one
in leadership.
So the one way, if you want to look at that from a different angle, why this might be a good thing. I'm not saying I'm not fully all the way there. I'm just saying something to think about, that there are, and I know this for a fact, of leaders who, been at weddings and they're with their spouses and they won't dance with their spouses, even though a song comes on or whatever, because, what other people, the church people that are here are going to be thinking, even though they're married. And there's nothing wrong, because we've said it over and over again, they're married, they can do that if they want. But because of what's been said, people have this mindset. People are more hesitant to actually dance, even with their spouses in those settings. So from that standpoint, he's helping. Maybe that's why he was intentional about it. I don't know. I'm not Chandler Moore. I'm not this day's new, David here, like David, the new David of our society, modern day David. I'm not that, but
I think that there have been people, big name, quote unquote, big name in the Christian world, people who've come to their defense. Naomi Rain, she posted like Galatians 6:1-5, correction, gentleness, and all that stuff. And Israel Houghton was in the comments telling people to, basically, hey, don't worry about it. Not sure if Israel should be. You know what? Never mind. But
let's not go there. Let's not go there.
That's
Keep it
another
moving. Keep it
topic.
moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah,
Keep it moving.
keep
Keep it
going,
moving.
please.
I think that
It's a new season.
It is. Continue.
I
Savant.
think that we, as the consumer of his Instagram, we need to be understanding, like, who is this person to us? Is he actually a leader, someone we emulate, we want to emulate, we want to follow, or is he just another dude with an Instagram account that we're happy got married? And I think when we establish who that person is in our lives, then I think, this either becomes something you totally abhor, or something you're just like, oh, I like this. Congratulations, you guys got married. On to the next person's Instagram account, and we leave it there. I'm not sure why Christians, it's our culture, Christian culture, we go crazy over it. But I agree with the sentiment. I wouldn't post it. Probably isn't the best thing to post, but whatever.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. We haven't been able to get into the chat tonight. I'm not sure. I'm not on YouTube tonight. Is there anything in the chat, guys, that you want to kind of reference before we close shop here?
Yeah, Zach Baker wrote one thing that I thought was interesting. The shift from absolutely nothing to go for everything can be a pretty destructive teaching. And I think that's what the Christian world does. We go from one extreme to the next extreme.
Yeah.
There needs to be balance. And I think maybe that could be what we're missing a little bit, is the balance.
Yeah.
Because we're going from one end to, oh, this is totally bad, this is totally okay. And I think we need to be somewhere in the middle. That's just
no movies till Left Behind 1, 2, 3.
Or no movies to Poltergeist.
Yeah.
But it makes no sense, and then suddenly, like, adulthood or Ring gives you this opening to a world that you never knew of before, that you always thought was bad, and there's still this sort of guilt mentality in your mind for a long period of time. And here's the reality: there are people who have left not just the church but their faith because of that extreme, Andrew, because you force them to go from one to the other, and they can't correlate the pieces in between, and they're like, I want nothing to do with this anymore. I want nothing to do with how dare you tell me how to handle my own sexuality? How dare you tell me, we can go back to secular music. And what we learned about secular music as teenagers, what I would have taught Stefan or Tim,
I would have taught O'Shea. What I would have taught O'Shea too.
You know what I mean? Like what we would have said about that, or about going to the movies or whatever else. Realizing that, like, yeah, like in our own, at the time, iPods, we had our own stuff on there, or on our own, like, DVD, whatever's, all these sort of things that we were like DVDs. For those of you who don't know what DVDs are, VHS. But those, anyhow, the point I'm trying to make is, like, we go from one, and then, like, suddenly, like, oh, you're mature, you can do whatever you want, and this sort of like that balance, Andrew. That's why Andrew is the elder statesman and the wisdom of our show, because to add in that balance piece, because until there is balance, we're always going to freak out over a Chandler Moore picture, which really isn't a big deal because it doesn't really affect my life. It doesn't affect any of your lives personally. What he does outside of the songs that he leads, and you might sing in your church or on your own phone, whatever else, what he does really doesn't, that picture does not affect your life unless you have a problem with that sort of stuff. Gentlemen, it's 11:04. It's late. People need to get to bed.
This was great, yo.
This is always fantastic. And like I said, we always have the barbershop talk is what happens on the House of Common show. So do us a favor. Tell your friends, because we're back again next week with more hot takes and hot conversation. We want you to be there. Continue to be in the chat for those of you who are there. Thank you so much, neighbors of the House of Common. We appreciate you. We love you. Bring more neighbors to the cookout, because we want to have more people in these chats, so we have these sorts of conversations, that sort of stuff. Remember, find us on YouTube, search the words House of Common Show, subscribe, hit the bell, that sort of stuff. And then also find us on podcast on Apple Music or on Spotify. Leave a 5-star review when you do. This has been the House of Common Show, the flagship show of the House of Common Network. And if you're married, Do what you want.
Yo, go catch a bacchus.
Oh God.
Yo, handle your business tonight.
If you're
Multiply.
married.
If you're